Hello YouTube fam, thank you for joining me today. My name is Gina Marie Bova and this is where I like to come to talk about solved and unsolved true crime cases, true crime facts and stats, and missing person cases that I don't feel have gotten enough attention from mainstream media. If you love everything true crime like I do, then you've definitely come to the right place. I hope you choose to subscribe to this channel. And if you hit that little bell next to the subscribe button, YouTube will notify you whenever I upload new content. Quick warning before we begin, this channel is not for children, the faint of heart, or people who are easily triggered. I do not sugarcoat things, nor do I censor my language. The details I give and photos I show may be graphic in nature because they are about actual true crime events. Viewers' discretion is most definitely advised. Now, today I would like to do a really quick video about Melissa Ann Shepard. Consider it a public service announcement of sorts, since she's been out on the loose for about 6 years now. And as far as I know, she's still living and breathing, and more than likely has not stopped her evil and criminal ways. Do not let her looks fool you. Melissa Ann Shepard may be 87 years old now, but she is just as dangerous as she was 50 years ago. Let's get into that story. But first, I'd like to introduce you to my little Dax. I'm sure if you've seen any of my other videos, you've seen him before. He was supposed to be a 5-pound dog, full grown, and I think he superseded that. However, I couldn't love him any more than I do. He's being lazy right now. And I would like to introduce y'all to my newest member of my family. Say hello to little Sassy Bean. Can you see her? There we go. She actually won't be much more than 4 pounds fully grown. She's very sleepy, but consider yourself lucky because when she's moving, there's no slowing this little shit down. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Melissa Ann Shepard was born on May 16th, 1935 in Burnt Church, New Brunswick, Canada. It's said that she had extremely expensive tastes growing up, and those tastes never left her, even though she pretty much couldn't afford it. She pretty much had a Prada taste on a Payless shoes budget. Let's just say that. And rather than getting a good education and a good job to be able to support these expensive habits and wants and wishes of hers, instead she turned to a life of crime. She defrauded people out of their money and then some. I don't know much about the early years of her life. However, her first husband, Russell Shepard, was the only husband, it's said, he was the only husband that did not become a victim of a methodical practiced ruse. That was a quote. I don't know. Anyways, that marriage ended in divorce. From 1977 to 1991, she served multiple prison sentences for over 30 convictions surrounding fraud. She was a con artist, and she kept getting busted, and they kept letting her out, and she kept doing the same old shit. In 1992, she was convicted of manslaughter for the killing of her 44-year-old second husband, Gordon Stewart, after running him over twice with a car in 1991. He had tranquilizers in his system at the time. She told police that he had raped her and that she ran him over while trying to escape. Apparently, she didn't do it right the first time, so she threw it in reverse, backed over him, and ran him over again. Meanwhile, he was on tranquilizers, so I don't think he was moving very fast to get away from her. She was only sentenced to 6 years in prison, and she was released early on good behavior. serving only 2 years. Following her release, she toured the countries giving speeches on battered women syndrome and killing in self-defense. She received a government grant so that she could help others. During her tenure as a speaker, she sued journalist Barb McKenna of The Guardian for writing an article in which she doubted Shepard's claims. In the year 2000, Shepard married her third husband, American Robert Friedrich, shortly after meeting him online through a Christian dating site. He died 14 months later, leaving her with tens of thousands of dollars in assets. His sons made a criminal complaint against her, alleging that she caused his death by overdosing him with prescription medication. She was never charged with a crime related to his death, but his sons did win back $15,000. So somewhere in there, it's like they knew that she killed him, but they couldn't prove it. So they gave the sons some of the money, but very little in comparison to how much she got. In 2005, she settled with a man that she had met online in Pinellas Park, Florida. The man's son alerted police after his father was hospitalized a half dozen times, and he noticed unusual activity in his bank account. Hospital tests show, my lights are tripping, you see that? I'm sorry. Hospital tests showed that the man was positive for tranquilizers, but police couldn't prove that she was the one who gave it to him. They instead charged her with grand theft, forgery, and using forged documents, to which she pleaded guilty. She was sentenced to 5 years in prison. In 2012, she was charged with attempted murder of her fourth husband, Fred Weeks, and after pleading guilty to lesser charges, she was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison, is all. Police found a substantial drug stockpiled, primarily lorazepam and temazepam, together with prescriptions from 5 different doctors and several sets of identity documents in different names among her possessions. So basically, every time she gets let out, she's doing the same shit. She's scamming. She's got fake IDs, fake information. She's poisoning every husband she can rope in. And this is an old lady. People have had contact with this lady. Should be careful. That's what the sentencing judge said. On March 18th, 2016, Melissa was released in Truro, Nova Scotia on a number of strict conditions. They had a whole bunch of temporary conditions. Halifax Regional Police released that she would be residing in the Halifax area and that she had been assessed and found to be a very high risk to reoffend. Now, some of the restrictions that they had put on her were this. She couldn't have any devices that had the ability to access the internet. She couldn't be on the internet, for example, at libraries or public cafes or at home. She was not allowed to have the internet or access to the internet in any way. She had a curfew at night. She was not supposed to stay out past a certain time. She was told that she needed to inform the police anytime she moved, anytime her phone number changed, and anytime she began dating somebody, so that the police may inform her newest partner of her criminal past. Now, if she completed her time, I don't know, I'm not trying to stand up for this bitch, but if she completed her time, how do they feel like they have the right to put these kind of rules on her? Like, it's not like she's on parole or probation. She's done her time. If you wanted her to do more time, you should have did what you should have done in the first place, and that's keep her ass locked up or put her in a fucking mental hospital where she could stay there for the rest of her life. But you guys keep letting her out for whatever reason, because I guarantee there are laws that could keep her in for longer than these plea bargain deals that you guys have been giving her. And so you could have kept her in pretty much this whole time, but you keep letting her out, knowing that she's going to reoffend, knowing that she's going to break probation or parole or any little rules that you guys give her within a month of being released after serving her time. But she had these rules, which I don't see how that could be legal, but that's a whole, I guess that's a different point, a different show. But she was caught in a library using the internet. And so they drug her ass back into court and made her promise not to do it no more, basically. They didn't even give her a punishment. They scolded her and told her she couldn't do it again. So, how many times do you have to slap this woman's hand before you actually do something about this criminal behavior? How many people did she have to defraud? I mean, she was literally in prison and found guilty of over 30 just fraud charges, not to mention the attempted murders, the manslaughter, all the different kind, the forging checks, the cashing in on insurance after poisoning people, the running over of her husband who was drugged to the tits. I mean, what, because she's an old lady, the judges are having a hard time treating her like they would treat, I don't know, you or me. I mean, if I got even one of those charges, I'd probably be locked away for quite a few years. So for her to be in her 80s, she's what, 87 now? She's 87 years old, probably out there doing the same ass shit, conning senior men out of their, not only their fortunes or their life savings, but their lives. And probably using one of the many aliases that she has. And to look at her, I mean, look at her. Here's a picture. Like, would you have suspected her? She does kind of have a sneaky resting bitch face, doesn't she? But besides that, like, without knowing ahead of time who she was or what she's done, you wouldn't think she was as evil as she was or is. I personally don't think so. But that she is considered the internet Black Widow because she met her husbands over the internet, obviously. So she had been charged with breaching the terms of her release. Even though she timed out, like she served her time, that you can't, that'd be double jeopardy. That would be double jeopardy had she completed her sentence, full sentence, and got out because the time was served. For them to add time onto it, they're not allowed to do that. That's just, that you can't do that. But to give rules in terms of release, to me, is pretty much the same thing. But on August 4th of 2016, her lawyer had entered 3 not guilty pleas for 3 counts of breaching a recognized terms with the court for terms of release. And that included the ban on the internet and so forth. She was supposed to begin trial February 1st, 2017, but then guess what? The charges were all dropped. in December. It's December 22nd, 2016. And I can't find anything about this woman from December 2016 till today. So I don't know if she's alive or dead, but my guess is, since I haven't seen anything about her being dead, she's still out there. But does she go by a different name? Is she married? How many times has she been married since then, I wonder? Because it has been a few years now. What? It's been 6 years? 6 years. I wonder how much damage she could have done in 6 years. Well, a couple of her husbands either died or came damn close. She made lots and lots of money. She's been sued. She's been charged, done prison time, and charged again, all in that amount of time. Who's to say she's not out there doing the same thing? What I meant when I started this by saying that this is a public service announcement of sorts is if you are a man, a senior man, and on in the internet looking for love, take a good look at this face, because this is one that you definitely want to avoid. Don't worry about the name, because you know a bitch got 100 of them. That face, only a little older now. All kinds of sweet looking old lady should be in the fucking kitchen cooking some brownies or fucking cupcakes or something. And instead, she's out there swindling old men for their money and their lives. If you have an elderly relative who partakes with online dating, make sure you take a look at their new squeeze's face and make sure it's not this bitch, because if you see this bitch, you best run. That's all I got for this story. Till next time, y'all stay safe out there.